السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. My name is Mohammed Jaddah from TDRA, Telecommunication and Digital Government Authority here in UAE. I would like to welcome you all to come to this session of regulatories and government entities leveraging 5G infrastructure for economic growth and municipal excellence. First of all, I would like to apologize for this delay that have been shifted for a while, but hopefully we could come up with good insights, good recommendation and conclusion here in this session with your prestige attendance. As you know, each generation of wireless technology has brought a greater efficiency to wireless connectivity. But I think 5G and 5G Advanced is the most transformational so far in terms of network enhancement, increased speed, reduced latency, and multiple of use cases that it enables the growth that we are looking for. So it is not just only enhanced speeds. Now the 5G allows for from 1 to 20 gigabits per second, but it is not simply a faster version of 4G generation. It's an improvement in reliability and latency and can provide benefits including internet access, real-time to remote access, to enterprise applications, precise location sensing, device-to-device communication, and real-time insights. In addition to that, it transforms visual experience, providing consumer applications such as streaming videos, gaming, augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality. The ability to provide rich visual experience through 5G at a scale will be a way for content provider to interact more and in let's say innovative way with the customers. Also, multi-user experience allows applications such as military training simulations, remote control of multiple robots in warehouses and industrial environments. Now we are seeing the hyper-connected cities and smart cities. With the 5G, there is ability to support massive devices. Density allows things to be connected with high degree of reliability. For example, today's smart cities might have sensor networks of a few thousands connected devices. Imagine a scenario where millions of such devices can be connected in a city center, measuring temperature, humidity, air quality, traffic, and more. I think it's an opportunity for all of those use cases to be demonstrated here. Also, an autonomous future where 5G, low latency, and enablement of new technology can support multitude of activities in the next decade, including autonomous vehicle, urban air mobility, and smart ports. A significant development to note is the growing interest from government entities. For example, here in UAE, Dubai Electricity and Water Authority in deploying their own 5G infrastructure and advanced digital technologies. This trend signals a broader move towards enterprises and governments' operations taking ownership of critical digital infrastructure. Also, the role of telecom operators has become very crucial here. They are ideally positioned to provide managed network services and infrastructure support. This collaboration is essential for enabling government entities to unlock the full potential of 5G and 5G advanced technologies, which are key drivers of economic growth and industrial innovation. It's worth mentioning that here in UAE, we started this journey from 2016, where we have initiated a 5G project and 5G committees from spectrum, network, and verticals, and we put the roadmap aligned with the key stakeholders here in UAE. And we have demonstrated and showcased multiple 5G technologies and use cases. The UAE here became a pioneer in the MENA region and among the world leaders in 5G deployment. Furthermore, also we have started now the 6G roadmap to become a leader in this area. We started a roadmap in 2024, preparing the country for the next generation of connectivity. This is much aligned with the UAE Vision 2031, which focuses on fostering a world-class digital economy and establishing the UAE as a global leader in technology innovation. So here, I think, grouping many stakeholders here and regional leaders, I would like to start the discussion regarding the role of regulatory and the private sector in fostering the innovation and utilizing the 5G implementation. So I will give the floor for any regulators, private sector or government entities to see how we can, for example, as a regulator, enable government to build and manage their own digital infrastructure securely and efficiently.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is Selamettin Ermiş. I'm the second chairman of the board at ICT Authority of Turkey. The technological developments deeply affect our economic and social life, and our economic and social activities change depend on technological developments. It will be difficult for individuals, organizations, and countries that cannot adapt to these developments individually, institutionally, and even nationally, not to fall behind their competitors and guarantee their future. Regulatory authorities or policymakers in the electronic communications sector have a critical role in the development of digital infrastructure of the public institutions and countries. This role is to provide the reliable, seamless, and high-performance communications infrastructure that public institutions that they need. By this way, other government entities can benefit and provide their own services effectively through this infrastructure. Today, it has become easier and safer for public institutions to have their own infrastructure with 5G technologies. It has become possible to establish secure infrastructures according to the needs of the public institutions or private industrial institutions, especially by establishing private 5G networks in the world. Regulatory authorities can impose obligations on 5G operators for the establishment of private 5G networks, or can directly allocate frequencies to public institutions or industrial organizations to ensure that private 5G networks are established in a robust and secure manner. In Turkey, we are studying to develop 5G technologies and provide 5G services to the public. 5G trial studies in Turkey began in 2019. Commercial 5G services has been offered since 2020 at Istanbul Airport, which is Turkey's gateway to the world. And 5G services are provided in Turkey's 4 largest football stadiums. In addition to these, 5G studies continue with the private trial networks in more than 30 locations. Meanwhile, we are planning to issue the licenses to provide services with 5G advanced or 5.5G technology throughout the country in the last quarter of this year, and start the services in the first quarter of the 2026. We are planning to make some regulations with the scope of 5G licenses that will facilitate the establishment of private 5G networks by our public institutions and industrial organizations that they need. Whether public institutions have established their own private infrastructure or receive services directly from telecom operators, ensuring the cybersecurity of these services is among the most important issues. For this reason, we established the National Computer Emergency Response Team, that is namely TR-CERT, USOM, to carry out national level coordination in order to fight against the cyber incidents. As a result of these studies conducted, Turkey is ranked 6th in Europe and 11th in the world in the field of cybersecurity, according to the Global Cybersecurity Index reports in 2020. But at the end of the last year, we have the 100 points with all the parts and became role model according to the ITU's Cybersecurity Index. By coordinating and collaborating, the GCC can leverage its collective strength to build interoperable and sustainable digital infrastructure, paving the way for a seamless transition from 5G to 5G Advanced to 6G, while ensuring citizen-centric service delivery. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for sharing with us trials and use cases in Turkey which demonstrate how 5G could enhance the quality of life for the user and customer there in Turkey. Any other also from regulators could provide insight regarding the support of regulatory and enhance the collaboration between regulatory and the public sector and government sector?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Rashid Al-Ahmadi. I'm from Digital Diwa InfraX company, owned by Dubai Electricity and Water Authority. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, we stand at a pivotal moment in the evolution of the digital infrastructure, a moment where the very foundation of our smart cities and industrial infrastructure are being redefined. What we are witnessing is a transformative trend. Government entities and enterprises are taking direct ownership of their own critical digital infrastructure and transformation. For Dubai Electricity and Water Authority, by extension for its subsidiary InfraX, the information, communication, and technology arm of Digital Diwa, embracing 5G is not merely about connectivity. It's about unlocking unprecedented level of control, security, performance, and sustainable operation. We are moving beyond relying solely on our public networks for a mission-critical operation, imagining the enhanced security for sensitive data, the ultra-low latency enabling real-time automation in our energy and water grid, and the dedicated capacity for countless IoT sensors and smart cities use cases. InfraX uniquely positioned to leverage its deep understanding of Dubai Electricity and Water Authority operations and needs in combining it with the cutting-edge 5G technologies. We are not just building networks. We are crafting a bespoke digital ecosystem and setting an example for other utilities to follow. I want to emphasize that InfraX is actively collaborating with the telecom operators for exploring and developing its infrastructure, leveraging their expertise to build robust and scalable cellular networks. We are also incredibly grateful to the Telecommunication and Digital Government Regulatory Authority, TDRA, for enabling InfraX with our IoT license. The instrumental approval empowered us to transform ourselves from an industrial player into a specialized IoT service provider. This collaboration approach between InfraX and our telecom operator colleagues, side to side with the OEMs, is a key driver for the 5G advanced adaptation and acceleration. The industrial innovation paving the way for a truly intelligent and resilient industrial digital transformation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rashid, for giving us insight about InfraX and the use case here in UAE, which is a remarkable use case that we could benefit of it all. I would like to hear also if we have operators also. They are very important. They play a very important role here in this ecosystem. So we'd like to hear from them.
مساكم الله بالخير. السلام عليكم. Good afternoon. This is Tariq Al-Amri, SVP for Regulatory Affairs and Public Policy. I will take two aspects regarding the 5G infrastructure and how to accelerate it and improve the economic growth. From regulator perspective, and as I was an working with the regulator, I think one of the important things for the 5G is the spectrum and how to allocate the spectrum and what is the obligations and the fees that the regulator will oblige the operator. This is very critical subjects between the regulators and the operator, and also it's impacting the acceleration and also impacting the investment in the infrastructure and how to monetizing that infrastructure. This is number one. And number two is how to incentivize the private sector to invest in the new technology, like a 5G or 5G advanced, or now we are working on some experience on Open RAN and some how to expecting the 6G. So one of the aspects that we usually discuss with the regulator, how to give, for example, tax incentives or subsidized, how to do a triple P partnership between the public and private sector, especially in the rural area. And we have a successful experience in Saudi Arabia now. We started last year with the government to roll out the broadband in the rural area using 5G with the minimum speed 100 meg. So that experience, we took it from the government because the operator in Saudi Arabia, their license is based on the commercial basis. So rural area, usually it's not feasible from the economic perspective unless the government intervene. So we have an excellent experience in Saudi Arabia for universal service and how to provide the broadband and also the fiber. So this one, it will accelerate the rollout of the 5G, especially on the rural area or to the people who's not connected with the advanced technology, and how to promote the sharing of the network, how to give but not enforce it, because we face it from the operator perspective. Sometimes the sharing is better, sometimes to build a single tower also is faster, so it depends on the situation, but the collaboration and understanding the commercial basis is the important. The last thing from the regulator perspective, how to promote innovation and use cases from the consumer perspective. As you know, 5G alone, it's a technology and give a capability for the speed and latency. But if you have a use cases, if you have SMEs and enterprise and how to, or gaming perspective, those things, it will improve the utilization of and monetizing the infrastructure. And from operator perspective, how to give the priorities for the areas to invest, how to make the rollout of the network more efficient, how to collaborate with with the towerco companies or with the other operator to fostering the 5G rollout network. This is from my side, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Tariq, for your insights. It's really a very, very insightful contribution. I think the operator is playing a very important role here in the 5G ecosystem. And hearing from you, hearing the challenges and the requirements from the regulators and other stakeholders will help in putting the real solution for it in order to move forward with the implementation and taking the beneficial of utilizing 5G here in the region. I will also have like a question now regarding how can municipalities align with national connectivity goals like 5G or 6G roadmap to drive local innovation and smart services. So I will leave the floor for anybody who would like to. Further.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mohammed Naimi. I'm from the Telecommunication Regulatory Authority of the Kingdom of Bahrain. I think, Mr. Chairman, you have raised a good question on how can we foster innovation in general in the digital economy. I think the regulator role is key here by applying basic things that regulator would do, but it should be done in the right manner. Let me explain or elaborate on that. I think creating a competitive landscape and transparent landscape between all the players in the market, in the basic telecommunication market is key. Is key for easy access to the infrastructure, the 5G infrastructure, or be it any access to the networks with reasonable prices, of course. By this, we are defining the underpinning layer for all the digital economies. So be it the municipalities, banking sector, health, energy, etc. I think after making sure that this the fundamental is right, then the government must ensure that there is a digital economy strategy leveraging on this world-class competitive telecom markets, where innovation can thrive through or from these multiple sectors. One important thing is also that the consumer should be empowered and should be or should trust moving their businesses and operation to the cyberspace. And I mean by that they should trust and make sure that the cyberspace is safeguarded and they can trust the robustness of the networks and it is being or their investments in a safe hand. I think this is my intervention. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mohammed, for your contribution here. I think we have a comment here from Turkey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, again. With the development of technology, the traditional municipal service approach is being replaced by the concept of smart city planning or smart municipality approach. Taking into account the targets determined in the national broadband strategies of the countries, municipalities can play a facilitating role in achieving these national targets and can be facilitating institutions to provide innovative local services and effective service of citizens. The targets that can be included in the national plans, such as expanding fiber infrastructure, transitioning to 5G advanced or 6G, and providing broadband satellite services should be used by municipalities as a tool or leverage to provide their own services effectively. 5G advanced technologies and 6G and beyond technologies have great potential for education, culture, art, transportation, and smart city applications of municipalities, especially with their massive machine-type communications, ultra-low latency, and the high-speed characteristics. I would like to give an example from Turkey to contribute to the achievement of national targets and to exemplify the role of municipalities in the contemporary municipal services. The Başakşehir municipality is a metropolitan district from Istanbul. While facilitating the deployment of the technological infrastructure on the one hand, it has also prepared an environment where citizens and companies can experience this technology's developments. While facilitating the installation of fiber infrastructure, electricity, water, and gas infrastructure with the large galleries underground, it has also determined the locations where mobile-based stations will be installed and mobile service can be easily provided with the municipal borders in a planned manner. In addition, by establishing a laboratory called Living Lab, it provides startup companies, students, and researchers an opportunity to develop projects and applications in many areas, such as smart life, smart urbanism, mobile application, robotics, wireless communication, wearable technologies, design, mobile health, smart education and information trainings, renewable and smart energy systems, sensor technologies, and so on. The spread of such examples contributes to both achievement of the national goals and ensure that the municipal services are effectively provided to the citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for giving us examples from Turkey which demonstrate how you support innovation of use cases and how you foster this to Turkey to become one of the leading countries in this area. Any addition to this regarding the fostering the innovation and smart services?
Yes, hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brahim Gribi. I head Government and Policy Affairs for Nokia for Africa and Middle East. So from a vendor's perspective, obviously when we talk about 5G, the promise of 5G is beyond mobile broadband or enhanced mobile broadband for the end consumers. I think the promise of 5G, of course, is to support the digital transformation of industries and I think many of the examples were mentioned here. So how to make it a success, because today we are 2025, and if we look at the agenda, everyone is thinking, of course, the next one coming up in terms of standards and research is 6G. So how to make this sort of digital transformation through 5G, what we see, I guess, across benchmarks of different markets, the first thing to do that, you have to enable a business environment for ecosystems to develop around 5G, so that you have to test the new use cases depending on the industries. And I think a couple of questions come to mind. The first thing is what model for deploying these networks, or private networks? And there's no rule of thumb. Some countries would sort of deploy those networks through the operators, and other countries would sort of allow dedicated spectrum for sort of entities or industrial entities, or let's say it's a manufacturing company or energy company and so on, and then basically they would get the license and sort of they would build their network. So there's no rule of thumb. And the big question is really about, one, dedicated spectrum, or sort of, and what type of usage for it. And the other question, underlying question, is the business model. Who builds that network? And again, there are different flavors of that. So we see that happening across the globe, and I guess that's sort of what's happening. There's no specific direction. I think what's important is that you have the framework and the clear guidelines for the stakeholders, whether it's operators or these industrial stakeholders, in terms of how to tap and build these networks. And I think that's you know, in terms of licensing, it's a different way of licensing. It's not the typical CSP or operator licenses. Some countries define those as light licensing schemes because these are small-scale deployments, very localized sometimes. And then I've seen even countries giving these licenses, or they call them light licensing, but typically you have to use that frequency, but if you don't use it, you have to give it back, because it's very important that it's being used properly and to develop sort of the industrialization of different sectors. So I think there's a lot to be done on that front, but certainly countries are going at different speeds, but I think that's the ultimate goal, is to develop these networks and sort of looking at what framework and who builds these networks, whether it's for the government, municipalities, or you know, a larger industrial ecosystem. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Brahim, for your contribution from Nokia. I think the manufacturer and the vendor play a vital role here in this ecosystem. And we need to work collaboratively in order to select the right business model for 5G and even 6G, and then deploy it according to the circumstances and the nature of the country. Every country will be having different needs and expectation of a customer that we need to work on them. And I think the 5G will allow different use cases. We should be innovative to provide innovative services for the customer, which satisfy their needs and exceed their expectation. Thank you, Mr. Brahim. Any other contribution to this part? Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, excellencies. It's Ekaterina Medadze, Georgian Regulatory Authority, very different region, and it's an honor to be here. Actually, we're neighbors with Turkey, so quite representing the South Caucasus region as well, and GCC region's experience is quite impressive. But let me also add our perspective, because 5G, as it was mentioned, and in general, digital now is cross-cutting. If you miss being part of this digital industry and digital economy, it will cost a lot at the end. There'll be support that amongst in the community of time because and called the small countries, more because for regulations and coming here so it's difficult. You look for that. Need to make sure you mess with the spell. So is it the finally deployment for the country, for the existing network players? We've auctioned the spectrum with big incentives, like financial incentives, bringing discounts up to 80% of the license cost. And the process itself to somehow remove any kind of ambiguity, whether what is the cost of spectrum, because then we know that the cost of deployment is quite high for the new technologies. we are making all the processes transparent, like the itself auctioning and public consultation process is very inclusive, so anybody can ask questions about the costs, about the possible discounts. So we've now have the third term of 5G distribution, but still it's not a private network allocation, it's the public networks for the operators. And we've tried also to incentivize. Georgia is a mountainous country. It's very difficult to deliver connectivity to the mountainous region. So underserved, to incentivize monetary incentives bring for the underserved regions. And we're also working tightly with other state agencies, because it was mentioned several times also on a previous sessions that multilateral engagement is very important. So to ensure for operators that not only one regulator is playing like giving the rules that are understandable, but government as a whole has same vision. So to be part of one digital umbrella strategy. So this is another thing we are working on, and trying to keep our doors open and facilitate more and more inclusive dialogue of private sectors, of newcomers to the market, and the public sector, and especially ensure that with newer technologies, this digital gap is not growing bigger, because more advanced the technologies, it's more difficult to serve underserved or vulnerable population. So there is kind of the different areas we're trying to be more facilitators rather than the legacy role of the watchdogs on the market. And as of 5G private deployment, private network deployment, it's still open for Georgia. And we are trying to facilitate, for example, with the state-owned entities to like railway or other industries to support introducing 5G private. This will enable then some other digital ecosystem to grow. So this is a quite difficult path, let's say, but yeah, the task is to make it balanced for the benefit of enterprises, private enterprises, but also for the citizens to get all the benefits. And one important thing we've also identified is digital skills, because you might bring the infrastructure to the region or municipalities, but it's important to, at the same level, to bring the understanding how to benefit from this infrastructure. It's a crucial point to make this work as an enabler of economy in general. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, to share your experience and challenges and recommendation within Georgian country. I think it is very, very useful experience that we could benefit here in the region. Thank you. Any other contribution to?
Assalamu alaikum. مساكم الله بالخير. This is Al Hassan Mugri from Salam. I came from an operator. Actually, I'm not going to talk about the importance of having an excellent infrastructure and technologies, but there is a room for governments and other players in the market to support and help the operators to build the infrastructure for 5G. I was thinking about if there is a chance to build a model where all the government entities can allocate some of their budgets, yearly budgets, to allocate it for infrastructure development, where they can, contribute in the infrastructure development and by let's say, revenue share model, they can return their investment later. Companies can still provide the services with the support of the government and some of the OTT providers, and any government or organization or company that use the infrastructure. And I think by implementing such, I know it's difficult, it's not easy, and it needs more collaboration and cooperation between these entities, but I see a light there. If there is a good contribution in that, it will foster the implementation of the 5G in any country. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Al-Hassan. I will give the floor to the gentleman.
Thank you very much. My name is Eric Holmqvist. Strategy. Can you hear me? Let me just adjust that. And I'll do a very brief intro. The organizers know us very well, so let me just say that we did the world's first calculation of broadband speed effect on the economy in 2011, and most recently we launched the African network of cybersecurity agencies for the whole of Africa in February, together with a constellation here at the conference. I've been listening to the discussion here, and this is a roundtable discussion. We could spend another 20 minutes discussing connectivity and the need for private-public partnerships here in the Middle East. And of course that is needed as 5G is requiring massive connectivity. But we could also use at least part of the next 30 minutes for one or two other pressing questions. Now, 5G is already here. 6G is around the corner. We have been discussing regulation of 5G at least for 8 or 9 years. 5G was launched in 2019, but the discussion on regulation started around 2015, 2016. Commercial launch of 6G is expected to take place somewhere between 2029 and 2030. And 6G is not a small incremental step. It's not 10 times the speeds we are talking about, it's 100 times. We are talking terabits. So the need, of course, for connectivity is massively greater. It's a more, in many senses, it's a more massive jump from 5G to 6G than it was 4G to 5G. And that's a massive revolution in itself. But that's almost half missing the point, because what we're going to see in the next 4 or 5 years is the combination of 6G with the latest forms of whatever comes after generative AI. And before we go in and define what is the role and how is this going to play out, maybe we should talk extremely briefly about the necessity of regulation. We all know that regulation is needed. What is good or best practice regulation? Best practice regulation here in the Middle East is represented by the TDRA. And we can have a long list, but I think most of us around this table would agree that great regulation is clear, 1, clear and predictable, 2, light-handed, and 3, ahead of the technological curve. The 2 first are the easiest. The third is the hardest. How do you stay ahead of the technological curve when the commercial interests are moving so fast, and we've seen what's happened in the US and so forth, moving faster in the US and China than anywhere else on the planet. So as we approach 6G and AI, it is very clear that the competitiveness of nations will be defined on how they tackle this, which brings me to the concept of light-handed regulation, because on the one hand, You want to further build on the UAE as the #1 nation in this part of the world in terms of technological steps forward. That would point towards light-handed regulation. On the other hand, in a recent past, we talked about AI, at least as a constant model, as a centaur, meaning man handled a tool and the tool was AI. Man and machine, think about a doctor that is aided by AI. In the next few years, that is no longer going to be the case. It's going to be AI working with AI. Where is man in that? And hence, AI is different from any other technology that man has seen before, because all previous tools, the intelligence was in man. Even internet, laptop, whatever we are using, we are the more intelligent creature. Now we are talking about connecting AI with AI, where the intelligence is no longer provided by man. Now, that brings me to the last part of my elaboration here. Yes, competitiveness of nations would say the UAE should be very light-headed on regulation on AI. On the other hand, the very nature of connecting a machine with another machine, both of them more powerful and potentially more intelligent than man, calls for possibly the strictest guardrails that we've ever seen in terms of the limits, not across the field, but in certain limits for what we want AI to do and behave and so forth, or we could end up in a very dangerous situation. So I would like to pass the ball back to the TDRA for your thoughts on the matter of regulating 6G and AI, and of course anyone else that wants to discuss this subject. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arik, for your, I think, grateful insights and thoughts, future thoughts, let's see, and about the future, how we could utilize AI, how we could also see the 6G that is coming, that we need also to see what kind of policies, regulations that is available here. I will open also.
Thank you. Thank you for the interventions. I mean, I've captured some points. I mean, you're right. I mean, so but let's not hype the technology itself. When technology is hyped in the past, I mean, throughout, I mean, the last 2-3 decades, I mean, it has always failed, because marketing always goes with hyping whatever is not delivered. When you've mentioned 5G was launched in 2018, I mean, that was not the real 5G actually. As per the ITU definition, if we go by IMT definition, it is not the IMT recognized as defined by the international bodies. The one that we are seeing now actually is the one that is regarded as 5G. So it has always been that the marketing is ahead of the real technology. The aim, as it was mentioned in the morning today, is that technology should serve humanity, so and welfare of the society. So if we take that into consideration, and we have the opportunities that lie with the new technology, with the capabilities that the new technology opens up, but we have the challenges with it. In the UAE, I mean, Georgia mentioned the reskilling of everybody actually. We have done that actually. So we have the Mohammed bin Zayed University for Artificial Intelligence, which provides actually education specialized for AI, which is free to everybody actually, not only for the UAE. So that they want to bring the capabilities and the skills of the society itself. The government, the federal government, have initiated the chief AI officer. A person is appointed and trained and skilled actually in each government entity to be able to drive AI adoption within his own sector and a government entity. Similarly, we've seen our licensed operators, engaging in reskilling their staff. Thousands of training courses and hundreds have graduated out of these training courses to enable their staff. So the like-minded will actually drive this further. They speak the same language. They know how to benefit out of this technology, how to implement it. So it's not, there is no one clear way to go, or one clear path actually to take for any technology. It's the aggregation of all these efforts that will help actually nations differ. So we take the best practices from each country. We've heard from Turkey, we've heard from the other colleagues here, how are they approaching the adoption of technology. As a regulators, yes, we have challenges. We've tried with many, things that have been mentioned in the interventions before me. We have the regulatory sandboxes that will help actually introduce or trial certain technologies before the regulation or while the regulation is being actually considered. So there are efforts. There are efforts of incentivizing the spectrum, but the grouping, when we have forums, when we have discussions, creating those forums that will actually help the regulator and help the other stakeholders understand actually each other's position always helps in moving forward and understanding the situation. So I don't have one answer to your raised questions, but it is a reality that is faced by everybody. There is a digital divide that is happening actually. Those who have embarked early will be the leaders. Others have to catch up very early. So I hope I answered, if not all, part of your concerns.
Thank you. That clarifies. We didn't expect you to have all the answers, but we feel very comfortable that you have the right process. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eric, and thank you, Mr. Saif, for this really interesting discussion. I think capacity building is very important part that we need to focus on, and there is a shift that we need to do by not only building the infrastructure and bringing the new technologies. I think the most important thing now here is how we apply the technology. What's the application that we'll be using to apply the technology and for the benefit of the people and our society. So I think this is the most important thing that we need to focus on, how we could utilize it for the benefit of the people. Any other contribution from the people here? We have one last question, that is, what policies can accelerate the adoption of high performance and secure networks for critical government and municipal operations? So if any thoughts from the people here?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just would like to highlight few of the challenges that maybe we are facing today and seek your guidance and support as well, especially that we are in the development stage of exploring building our private network. So from a utility or a municipality point of view, one of the key elements while developing this and cooperating with the operators is how to unlock the infrastructure to be open in a level that it could be easily explored to be moved from one operator to the other. The key challenges today that until now we are dealing with 5G network for normal consumers. The actual implementation of 5G in the perspective of IoT need a totally different way of looking into the whole journey from the SIM activation until the operation and deactivation and pricing. So there is no way that we can activate a SIM card in same way or process that we are utilizing today, from providing your Emirates ID or providing identity to enable the service. Another point, which is the SIM locking strategy, where, for example, today working with one operator may require physically replacing SIM card when you are talking about portability or number portability, which again create a key challenge for the utility to create that kind of competitive market between operators or trying to move from one operator to the other in terms of resiliency or for emergency purposes. So therefore, today what we are trying to adapt from implementation point of view is like the eSIM. But unfortunately, the majority of eSIM is not yet available from smart metering and smart grid point of view to give you that flexibility. What we are trying now to foster in terms of while developing this blueprint for the implementation within the utility ecosystem is to see what are the, for example, SIM tool management that we require, how we can ensure that we have an independent SIM issuer that allow us to move from one operator network to the other, beside having our own private network. So that kind of policies and that kind of blueprint is somehow will require some guidance and some sort of a structured way to address industrial IoT infrastructure. And therefore, could be the way in the future that we need to look into the whole policy of the SIM activation, the journey of building the infrastructure and operating it, and working with the operators accordingly. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Rashid. I think, as you said, it is important, I think, to change our way of thinking, a way of applying these technologies. This is an important thing that we need to think and collaborate together. I think what have been said also by Mr. Saifi regarding the regulatory sandbox, where you can try these new technologies without the current regulation, try the technologies, see how it will go, what are the challenges, what are the new things that you could do with it, and then the regulation should work with it in order to support it and support this new technologies and this new use cases. Any other? Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Beytullah Kuşu. I am Vice President of Regulatory Authority of Turkey. In order to adopt high performance and secure networks for critical public and municipal services, it is important to raise awareness in public institutions. For example, awareness studies should be carried out on the benefits of using high performance and secure networks in health, transportation, and production services. In a trial in Turkey conducted over 5G networks using the core network elements of a local company, an excavator 700 kilometers away controlled by the 5G networks. This is a very important use case for us to see how 5G networks can be used to control something efficiently. These and similar applications mean that all human tasks can be turned into real applications with the development of technologies. Therefore, first of all, we need to raise awareness in our public institutions about the contribution of technologies such as 5G, advanced or 6G to our works. Secondly, we need to guarantee that the security of these networks, because if there is no security, you cannot make easier people to work to use these technologies. In other words, while providing services to our public institutions with 5G and beyond technologies, we need to provide a secure service. At this point, security is at the forefront for us in the 5G authorization phase nowadays in Turkey. And we support our local companies to create secure networks and encourage the use of these products in 5G networks. In fact, for a few years, we are working on developing 5G technologies. We established in Turkey a cluster communication technologies cluster working on 5G, and another company, ULAC communications company, has developed baseband units for 5G and now being tested on core of some of the mobile operators. We also established 5G open testbed in Ankara, including 3 universities and our BTK's headquarters. We are also testing 5G technologies today in some places, commercial and closed networks. Nowadays we are studying to issue the licenses until the end of this year to bid, to make auctions and to start the services with the beginning of 2026. We have also started to develop and study 6G technologies. And
as we say, we already published the 6G report, which is available on our website. And that will work together with some universities and the evaluators, like the leaders in the leading us on 6 grades, and they go to the like that in something. And last one, for that is there is a limiting focus to provide well-governed services and then IoT services for standards, securities, and formation planning, division, content. In addition to national satellite company to 7, we have some other private companies that will have better years firstly and well. So US nice like players we play rather than launched. We had only the second last playing is not those million guys that far the moon and killed at a war surprise I'm the shoot. See, as an individual where we can got it to the always thinking that for a sign boy on the bottom of the position, the problem for the places, there's money so for that lane or import on services. It would use. That we are nice symbol. Shell, the use case of the mirror. The link that the telling or anxiety. One read. They had that metropolitan, that was gratefully. That in this like this art.
Sorry, thing sort of share it's challenging. It's really to it's really good right when it's out really great city grace that are for kids that the in the streets you see I'm saying these bad Polish stuff they grab your it's really she's a bar it's been a 30 year we should never let's try out to can get our impulsors in your feed but funny for the night
Also the same.
in what the deal is very rough all the sex or against in my our space is quite training so like it's only just trying to swiftly keep because I feel really for us so like a makeup that we ran but the light is every day and works really good so fever so you know
Having a
rice was and really very makes it it's just like still I have to this also the chance ice and this with the with it
thank you. Thank you very much for that.
so did
Any other find out in mind? So we must do it. So there's no another right thing to put to be in the other state, very state. Especially I think that coordination and collaboration is very most of all the stakeholders that report for our system. They can leverage this community to spread to build sustainable digital infrastructure. Then in the way we will see the style system from 5D ECBG while ensuring citizen-centric service delivery. Also, I think one of the important things
that we have heard is the capacity building and way of thinking. So that we need to focus on educating the people, making the awareness, shifting the thinking to how we could utilize the 5G and how we could apply it for the benefit of the people. Also, another important point is leaving the place for doing trials and different use cases and making labs for this 5G use cases, utilizing such as sandbox, as we said. It will allow for all the stakeholders here to try the new technologies, try how we could apply it for the benefit of the people. Last but not least, here is let's say the lessons learned from other countries. I think we need to go and speak with each other to see what kind of things that work in certain area and apply it for and tailor it for the country specific. Every country will be having specific way of delivering the service and applying these technologies and tailoring it for the benefit of their country and society. I would like to thank you all for your contribution here to this session. It's really very helpful and very insightful. Thank you all, and hope to see you together here also. Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency.